Am I the asshole for letting my brother-in-law think he might have to pick up the bill at a restaurant? I travel a lot for work, so I rarely see my family. I try and get back to see them a couple of times a year. When I do get to town, I like to take everyone out for supper at a nice restaurant. Not a 3-star Michelin restaurant or anything like that, but still a pretty hefty price tag. The party would be myself, my parents, my sister, her husband, their 2 kids, my brother, his girlfriend, and their 2 kids. So 11 people all together. The bill is usually between $600 to $1,000. It is a lot of money, but I like to treat them. I look forward to seeing my nieces and nephews without their faces buried on a screen. They love going out to a fancy restaurant. I don't know why, but the whole thing irks my brother-in-law. I just found this out. He seems to think that I'm doing this to show off. I'm not. I have an uncle that helped me get started on my career that used to do this same thing when I was growing up. He went more extravagant as well. I remember one year he took our family, about 26 people, to Disney World. That was 30 years ago, but I imagine it wasn't cheap. He said it was our Christmas and birthday gift for the year. He lied because I still got a card with $50 in it twice that year. I had a good year, and this holidays I took everyone to a fairly expensive steakhouse. When the bill came, my brother-in-law grabbed it and said he was paying this time. I said for him not to be crazy, I invited everyone out. It was my treat. He insisted. I didn't want to cause a scene, so I dropped it. When he looked at the bill, he went a little white though. I had allowed all my nieces and nephews to bring along someone if they were dating. 3 took me up on it, so there were 14 of us. The bill was a little bit more than $2,000, plus tip. Call it $2,500 when everything was said and done. He paid it. I went for coffee with my sister the next day. She didn't bring it up, but I did. I said that I was not mad, but a little upset that he had done what he did. She said she was mad because they didn't really have a spare $2,500 to waste. I was surprised at this, so I asked her if she thought it was a waste for me to take everyone out. She apologized and said she was just angry that he blew a hole like that on their budget. I gave her $2,500. She looked like she was going to cry. I told her that I took everyone out because I am missing seeing them grow up. I miss seeing all the family stuff they get to do. I blow through town for a week and I just want good memories. My brother-in-law called me later that day and said I was an asshole for letting him pay and then going behind his back with my sister. I told him I wasn't going to tell anyone about the money and that I wasn't trying to hurt him. They could just keep it on the down low. I'm just wondering if I should have insisted on paying instead of letting him think he blew his family's grocery budget for a couple of months on one meal.
Not the asshole. But you could probably understand where the brother-in-law is coming from wanting to pay for things too. Pride and all that jazz, just FYI, the classy, hassle-free thing to do if you are treating like this is to give them the card ahead of time and the table never sees a bill presented. Instruct the service staff that if anyone asks to simply say, "It's been taken care of," no mention of by who or when. It eliminates all the back and forth or any feelings.
Am I the asshole for telling Mom she can bill me using the tuition money she stole from me? When I, 33-year-old male, was preparing to go to uni, my mom confessed that there was no tuition money for me. Through the years, my dad would give her cash to deposit, but she only did the first one. She spent the rest. To be honest, I wasn't even surprised. I was used to being disappointed by her. She promised that she would pay me back and asked that I never tell me dad. So for 4 years, I thanked them for the tuition money while I took out loans. For reasons to do with her narcissism, I have an arm's-length relationship with her. But she would say we're pretty close, as she assumes my smiling and nodding, while she drones on about the same stories, is a relationship. We have a family cottage that she puts above everything else. She lives there about 90 days of the year. I've been going there with my GF for about 4 days for a couple summers, which she begrudges as it takes away from her time. My dad supports my going, which is how I pull it off. She recently told me that it was time for me to start paying for some of the maintenance on the cottage since I use it. She actually suggested way which is wildly disproportionate. I told her she could take it out of the tuition I owe you, and we could negotiate the amount with Dad. She was speechless. She texted me later to say that it's manipulative to bring up the tuition and to threaten to tell Dad. It went on and on. I've been thinking about it, and first, I'm hurt, offended, that she can't just do a nice thing for me. She has to get something for it. Second, I guess I'm not really over the whole tuition thing. What the actual hell are you bringing up ancient history and not paying her for use of the cottage? Also, at the time, it never occurred to me that I should have told him. I thought I was doing the right thing by protecting both of them. That pretty much summarizes my childhood.
Not the asshole, but I'm confused as to why you agreed to keep this secret from your dad. It isn't clear from your post whether or not your parents are currently married, but either way, it makes no sense to lie to your father. He thinks he spent money on your education, and for some reason you went along with this lie.
Am I the asshole for laughing at my stepson and ruining his wedding?
For context, I have been married to my husband for just over 20 years. We started dating when my stepkids were 5 and 3. Our kids are Adam, 28, stepkid 1, Ben, 26, stepkid 2, Charles, 20, David, 17, and Ellie, teen. Adam is getting married at the end of summer to his fiancée, Alice, 27. We have all been very excited for them. All of the kids have roles for the wedding. Charles is the best man, the other 2 boys are groomsmen, and Ellie is a JR bridesmaid. Last weekend, we had a dinner for my husband's birthday. All of the kids attended along with Alice. The topic of the wedding came up again, and this is where it started to go downhill. Ellie brought up that she was so excited to go dress shopping and that we plan to go to a bigger city in a few weeks to get her a dress and me a stepmom of the groom dress. At that, Alice looked at Adam sideways and responded that we only needed to worry about one dress, Ellie's. Ellie kind of laughed and said, "What are you expecting Mum to wear? A suit?" Alice responded with, "My name isn't going. You know we are keeping our guest list very limited to only family and a few close friends." What? Adam and Alice have been to our house numerous times for holidays, dinners, just to say hi since they've been engaged. This has never been brought up. Pretty quickly, things escalated. The Cliff Notes version is that Charles asked them to clarify if they were choosing to uninvite me now or if I was never invited. Alice confirmed the latter. Why? Adam said it's because I'm not his mum. Charles, David and Ellie argued with Adam and Alice that none of them were going to go if I wasn't invited, that it was cruel to leave me out given I've been his parent for a majority of his life and loved him like my own. My husband and I admittedly sat there for a minute, just fucking shocked. Adam finally turned to my husband and said, "Well," my husband told him he wouldn't be going either. Adam then turned to me and asked if I was really going to let everyone ruin his wedding on my behalf. Here's where I might be the asshole. I just laughed. IDK what came over me, but the entire thing was just so ridiculous that laughing was the only thing I could get out. I told my husband I'd be waiting in the car and left, and then promptly bawled my eyes out. Anyways, Charles, David and Ellie are not talking to Adam. Adam called my husband yesterday to try and smooth things over. He was still adamant I'm not invited and it's their wedding. He also requested I apologize for laughing at him. My husband told him tough shit. It's their wedding and they can invite whoever they want, but they can't control who will actually go. He said they owe me an apology and that Adam should be ashamed of himself. I'm getting texts now asking WTF I did and why I'm being a step monster and ruining the wedding. So am I the asshole?
I feel like there's a lot missing here. You've been married to his dad since he was 8. That was years of elementary, middle, high school, college. 20 years. Is his mother living? Did his fiancé influence him? Just seems odd to not invite his dad's wife of 20 years and call her not family. I don't think you're TA, but I just want to know more about the past 20 years.
Before I give an update, I just want to clarify some things. I am not an affair partner. My husband did not cheat on his ex-wife with me. We met about a year after they divorced. She was already engaged, not to current stepdad. Not that that really matters. Ben was at the dinner. He is autistic. I went into it more in some of my comments, but he was very upset. He doesn't understand what the argument was exactly about, but he was mostly upset at Adam for saying I'm not their parent, and then at all the siblings for fighting with each other. Anyways, the update, in short, if you guessed it was related to BioMom, you were correct. I didn't want this to be the case. Adam rescheduled with Charles for Monday, citing Easter weekend, fair enough. He also texted my husband to let him know that him and Alice would be doing Easter with her parents. We expected that. At some point on Sunday, Ellie texted Alice. I am not sure what exactly was said, but it prompted Alice to spill everything that was going on with her parents. I have met them a few times, but they live a few hours away. They encouraged her and Adam to reach out to us to clear everything up. Monday, we dropped Ben off to BioMom's. He stayed an extra night for Easter fun. A few hours later, she began to blow up my husband's phone as Ben mentioned the fight. My husband answered one call in which she was screaming and promptly hung up. He texted her that the siblings argued everything is fine and that if Ben has any further questions, we will talk about when he's back with us. From some of the things she texted, we knew she was the root of all of this. Monday, Adam also met up with Charles and he did come clean. Charles texted us to see if it was okay if they came over after and we said yes. I'm not going to lie, Adam looked a mess. He immediately began crying and apologizing. The short and sweet is that he's been trying to mend bridges with BioMom. Their wedding isn't 60 people, it's blown up to about double that, and they have been struggling to figure out how to pay for it. At one of their visits, Alice let it slip, and BioMom jumped to help pay for things. It slowly snowballed from there, from small requests to big requests. I am not sure what the final nail in the coffin was, but it ended with BioMom requesting I not be there. Adam said it was easier to hurt me and risk WW3 with his mum. Alice's parents were less than pleased to find out how they've been with the wedding budget, and even less so at BioMom's antics. They are trying to figure out how to start covering the payments BioMom has made. We've decided to help some with this. Adam also asked if we could meet again in a few days with Alice, and we've said yes. There is still a lot of ground to cover for this to be close to mended. I am still hurt, but mostly I'm angry on behalf of my oldest son.
You and your husband, though your offer to pay is generous, shouldn't let Adam nor Alice off the hook this easily. In his own words, it was easier to hurt you than starting WW3 with his mom. It was easier for him to invite every single person you love and care for, expecting them to betray you and humiliate you, than it was for him to realize his mom's manipulation and ask for help elsewhere. Not even just financial help, but emotional help. He would rather have had you sit alone and abandoned than he'd take responsibility for their own bad planning and allowance of his mom's behavior. And when you didn't accept it, when your loved ones didn't accept it, rather than admit he was wrong or come clean or anything remotely sane, he and his soon-to-be wife began cussing you out as if you had done anything to them but be kind. I hope you get a chance to begin healing, but you won't get there if you and your husband don't acknowledge the very real hand and responsibility Adam himself had in letting this situation play out. Just jumping in now with money and immediate forgiveness will just be a band-aid, not actually healing the situation.
Am I the asshole for spending my son's university fund on a trip to Europe to drink beer like I always threatened?